Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 27 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. It's just come up to 5 p.m. on Tuesday, February 25th. We are just over 55 minutes away from the Gameweek 27 deadline, which is 6 p.m. UK time. As normal, I will be answering as many of your FPL dilemmas as possible up till this 6 p.m. deadline. Questions will be answered in order submission. Repeat / similar questions may well be skipped, as will questions that may well be answered on the screen, so please have a look at them. Top right hand corner, my team is on screen. -4 has been taken. Jared Bowen and Christopher Nkunku in for Amad Diallo and Anthony Gordon, as suggested I would do on the Planet FPL Gameweek 26 review podcast yesterday. To the left of me, my correct score predictions for all 10 games and captaincy in order of preference, top 10 players, but very much it is Salah versus Palmer this week. My preference is with Salah. If your preference is with Palmer, that's absolutely fine. Right at the bottom of the ticker, you'll see all the flag players in FPL and next 5 game week fixtures for all 20 teams. To the bottom right hand corner, you'll see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams. And right below me, you'll see the benching dilemmas where there are 2 players together. The preferred option, the player with the tick, is the preferred option to start. They run in order, pages 1 to 4. They also run in order left to right. You will find some goalkeepers on page 5. That's your graphics done. If your question is answered on screen, please delete it. Cheers. If you're watching live on repeat in months from now, smash a like, hit the sub button. Let's do this, everyone. Best of luck. Adam says, evening, James. Who you bench out of Wood and Cliver and Mikalenkovic and Mikalenko? Already starting Gabriel and Raya. All the best. Cheers. To be honest, I would have said the Forest players, but the fact that you've got the double Arsenal defence, and I presume you intend to start with them, it's close enough. I'd possibly take them on, and go the other way. If you hadn't added that bit on the end, I would have said start the 2 Forest players. But the fact you're going with the 2 Arsenal, I'd maybe take it on. But I'm very nervous about recommending anyone to bench Chris Wood this week, because I think that Forest might just win tomorrow night. And Clayton, on our Patreon podcast today, has said he's really confident that he thinks Forest will win. Geddy says, play Timber or Kirkes. Just about Timber, probably, despite what I've just said, in case I'm wrong. JP says, plan is to chase with Watkins, Rogers to Cunha Bowen for -4, but who do I bench out of Utara, Cliver, Vissa, Isak from that lot? Probably Utara with reluctance. Spooky Sorcerer says, was set on doing João Pedro to Cunha this game week, but with no Zabani and Welbeck doubtful, should I roll the free transfer and do it next week if you think he starts? João Pedro is a huge diff. I'll be playing Castagne. I mean, well, that even helps it even more, isn't it? It's a stick, mate. Hasselbank is win, says James. Who is the most overrated manager in the Premier League? Give us a current and historical one. Fuck me, man. Throw that shit on me right now. I think the quality of managers in the Premier League is really good. Overrated one. That's fucking awful. Maresca. Don't shoot me. Historical one. 30 years worth of history. I'm trying to think of someone who's like won it, and I'm like, how did they win it? You could say like Ranieri. That's so harsh. That would be so harsh. Not true. Overrated manager in history. My God, there's such a broad question. How do you even weigh that up? Mark Hughes. I don't know how he kept getting jobs. There you go. Stephen Moore says, hi James. Rogers to Damsgaard, Sade, Enzo, or just start João Pedro and reassess next week. New mid would only need to start 29. Want Cunha for 28, so mid has to be 5.1 or less. Wildcard 31. Cheers. Listen, if your priority is 29, I would wait, mate. Make sure you make the right decision for 29, genuinely. Diljeet07 says, good afternoon, James. Hope you're well. Enjoyed Nico clipping up the double triple burger last stream. Oh my God, it was good, that. Would you consider a second channel where you review food? As if I've got time for any more content. Thanks though, mate. Jesus says, I've had Enzo rotting on my bench the past few game weeks. Thoughts on starting him over one of Cliver or Wood. Cheers. You've probably got him still. You've probably got to play him, haven't you? I wouldn't play him over Wood, though. Zaris says, start Rogers or Alanga. Like and subscribe. Let's beat Andy once in a lifetime. Greetings from Grace. We'll never beat the king of YouTube, my friend. I would probably just about edge with Alanga. I think there's a strong possibility that Rogers doesn't start. So I would go that way. FPL Don says, hi James, what do you think scores more over game weeks 28 and 29? Get Munoz for 28 and play Rico Lewis in blank game at 29, or get Houston in 28 to play both weeks. I mean, how long's a piece of string? Like asking who plays for Manchester City tomorrow night. It's more difficult enough. Never mind in like 2.5 weeks who's going to play for Manchester City. I'm very tempted to say the upside of Munoz in 28 though, mate. And the fact you could have Munoz in 30, subject to what you're doing. Yeah, that route, Don. Ross Cordinley says, Rodgers to Bowen. Can't then get Haaland in 29 without downgrading Salah, Palmer, Bowen. Or Rodgers to Enzo and be able to get Haaland, or just keep Rodgers. Ross, you sound like you really want to keep your Haaland option open. I'm going to say close it. CM Punk 2310 says, have Isak versus Trent and Alisson and Wood versus Gabriel this week. Sorry. Have Isak versus Trent and Alisson. Plus Wood versus Gabriel this week. What's your opinion on teams with players facing each other? How much importance should be given to it, and should it be avoided as far as possible? Where you can avoid it, avoid it. But like, I think when you've got top players, it's almost impossible to do at certain stages. So Trent and Isak, let's look at this realistically. They could both return for you this week, right? And that's fine. I wouldn't bench either of those two players. Gabriel is in for the offensive stuff as much as the defensive stuff, I think, 'cause you're hoping for that big, massive haul. But could it be 1-1 and Wood and Gabriel both scored the 2 goals? In this circumstance, yes. So if you had Wood versus Timber, be a little bit, Timber can be a threat from set plays, but not in the way Gabriel can. You'd be more inclined to say, yeah, maybe bench Timber. If you've got like Konate against Isak, I'm like, yeah, that's not great. But when the guys defensively can produce offensively, I think just get on with it. I use the example of I had Pedro Porro for the majority of the first half of the season, and I had a number of occasions where I had players going up against him. It's like, yeah, we ain't keeping a clean sheet. Pedro's only in there for the offensive stuff anyway, so just crack on. So it's circumstantial, to answer the question. Convious Cells says bench one. As if you put Palmer and Salah there, mate. Cliver, Utara, Bowen, Visser, Isak, Mateta. Same answers before. I think just about Utara. Just on the basis of Evan Nilsson's available, I do think Utara will start. He could play a wider position at points during the game. That would be the one. Cliver on pens just gets the edge for that reason. Nihar says, hey James, last week on Assistant Manager, would you go Pereira or Ange? I don't want to answer this question because if you look at my correct score predictions, the advice is Ange. What I would add though is I feel like there's more chance of Wolves winning and keeping a clean sheet than Tottenham. There you go. And actually, in terms of the betting odds, just generally, forget my predictions for a minute, Tottenham would be the outsider of the three amongst Glasner, Pereira, and Postecoglou. So if you want to follow the betting lines, Ange last. If you want to follow my predictions, Ange. And most of you know, I presume, I'm normally quite pessimistic about Tottenham, but I'm more pessimistic about Manchester City. JP says start 2 out of Gabriel, Mikalenkovic, Robinson and Hall. Gabriel Robinson. I think that's right, despite my predictions. And I think Arsenal might get beat. I think that's right. You know me, I always say this week after week on Gabriel. Just play him and it'll be what it'll be. Brunton says, how do you feel about an Ange Arseman punt? Punt him up the arse if he don't stop lying to me about team news. Yeah, I've just covered, so I'm just gonna move along. King of Mandalore says, hi James, good luck this week. Bench one, a Gakpo, Visser, Cliver, Isak. Ignore if all on benching dilemmas. They're not all on the benching dilemmas, but that's because Visser's on the captaincy. So definitely Visser first and foremost out of that, mate. And then you can work out the rest, I think. Aaron McCorden says, evening, mate. Have a couple of benching dilemmas for you. Who would you start from? Bowen, Cliver, Bumo? You're not benching Bowen or Bumo, mate. Find a different solution. Then I've got them, third and fourth for captaincy this week. So there's no team around where I wouldn't be picking either of those two players, mate. Then defence, start 3 of Hall, House and Munoz, Timber, Robinson. Munoz got to go in from that lot, I think. The rest is probably Robinson again, the offensive stuff. I'd probably just about go Timber just to cover off a bit of Arsenal defensive ownership. Patrick Cliver, father of the great Justin, says, "Hi mate, thoughts on activating Arseman now? Got all my chips left and plan to use them all from 31 to 34. I'm worried about dead rubber games towards the end of the season. Thinking Ange, please don't use the word you used there. Patrick's no need for it, mate. Yeah, just covered with Ange. Look, there's 2 bonus games in a row. You probably won't get the third out of Fulham in 29. There might be a couple of alternatives you might be able to chase in 29, subject to how the table looks. One might be like Brentford at Bournemouth if it doesn't work. McKenna against Forest. Shit, innit? I'm not massively keen. The biggest reason I'm not massively keen, and I think you even see it in Ange's team news today, is, and again, I think there's every chance we might get a result tonight, but I think you're activating now. So like those who've gone 25 to 27, just this one I don't mind so much. The 27 to 29 I like less. The Bournemouth game falls in between the 2 Alkmaar games, and the Alkmaar games are going to get prioritised, mate. Simple as that. And then Fulham falls 2-3 days after the Alkmaar second leg. Not keen. Not keen on activating it new as of now. There will be other opportunities, I believe. Return of the Mane says, "Hey mate, hey." Ayub Seller says, "Any news on Vandenberg?" Ruled out as far as I'm aware, mate. Very unlikely to be back for Gameweek 29 as it stands. And in any case, Pinnock might have kind of ousted him anyway. He can always come in and cover for maybe for a Gere at right back. It's probably his best bet of getting back in the team. 29 is doubtful he's going to make it. He's not available for tomorrow. Sean G says, "Hi James, bench one of Munoz, Trent, Gabriel, Colwell or Wood." No, God. Colwell. You can't bench Colwell, can you? With that fixture this week, can you? Can you? I mean, look, the benching dilemma says Munoz, mate. He's just got his haul. He's not likely to have another one, is he? Robert Pugsley says, "Hi James." Hello Robert, hope you're well, mate. Greg Williams says, "Good afternoon James, would you do Dango to Bowen or Nwanyeri to Bowen and Gans Trent down to someone to get the extra 0? Well, I don't know what the second part is, Greg, so I'm just going to have to say the first bit, aren't I? Seth Ryan says, "Vista to Cunha or Roll?" Thanks, Roll. Ricky Donahoe says, "Would you start Cliver or Dango?" Cliver. Flecken or Allison? Allison. Joe Pickle says, "Would you bring in Nkunku Enzo for Rodgers now to bench Clive at the next 2 or wait till 29 and reassess? We'll sell Rodgers in 29 anyway. Can't afford Rodgers to Bowen without -4. So, clarify my position. I said it this morning on the Patreon pod. I said it yesterday on the main pod. Christopher Nkunku, I think, is a punter. He's ideal for me considering I may well be wildcarding in game week 29. i.e., I've got no confidence in it, but I do have confidence that Southampton and Leicester are a bit shit. So there's a possibility there and we're chasing it. I would not want Christopher Nkunku come game week 29. So anything beyond that, not really interested. All the big hitters are going to be back for game week 30. You probably get away with game week 29 specifically itself with him playing. It's not great, man. I'd leave it be, Joe. If your priorities are around 29, I'd leave it be. There's nothing wrong with playing Clive at next 2, mate. Gazman says, "Evening, James. Ignore if I'm benching dilemmas. Hall versus Robinson, Semenyo versus Dango. I didn't have room for Hall. I assume people don't want to play him at Liverpool, or are they too influenced by the Hall that just happened for Hall?" So comfortably Robinson, Semenyo, Dango. It's a bit closer than the Clive at Dango one, I think, for this week. I think Semenyo, mate. I think Semenyo. King of Mandalore says, "Is selling Palmer in 29 to get Haaland worth considering, even with Palmer's good fixtures after? Is it worth considering?" Yes. One of the reasons it's very worth considering is I do not think beyond game week 28, I think it's probably unlikely that we will captain Cole Palmer as the most popular choice again this season. That's not to say he's going to be the most popular choice this week, but I know certainly a lot of the FPL community are favouring him this week. They probably won't do quite so much next week, considering Mo's got Southampton, but it's another great fixture. During the rest of the season, don't think it's likely that Palmer will be the most popular captaincy choice again, despite some very good fixtures. Isak, Haaland and Salah will cover your captaincy for the rest of the season. This certain. You'd be so unlucky to end up in a scenario where you didn't have cover between Isak, Haaland and Salah that was better than Palmer in 33 and 34. You've at least got Salah 34. If you didn't have Isak or Haaland 33, I mean, in which case Salah would then be best, but it's probably another doubler under that circumstance. So, yeah, there's a case to move on. Isak and Haaland got good fixtures once you get on the other side of the international break as well. Next up is Steamroller says, hello, legend. Is Rodgers worth of waiting? I'm feeling like I missed something. I started in 5 of the last 6 game weeks. It drives me crazy. And I'm thinking this game we'd start him and bench Dango. What do you think? Nora would play Utara over him. I think, as said, there's a strong chance that he gets benched. And I think that could have been the case anyway, even without the niggle. You just got to remember to play Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, and they've got another game Friday as well. So he has played a lot this season. We know Emery loves him. I think there's every chance it'll be a substitute tonight. He's not in my predicted Villa team. The fixtures are pretty shit from now to the end. Even in the sense, the best fixture they've got left is Southampton in game week 32. And that could work, well, it's highly likely, to be honest, going to be sandwiched with a Champions League quarterfinal before and afterwards for Villa if they beat Bruges. So I think he's expendable. I've been saying this for weeks that I thought, once 25 was gone, he would be expendable. So I get it. If you've bought at 5 million like I did and I haven't sold him yet, then there's a case to say, what am I finding that's better? And if that's the case, then don't sell him for the sake of selling him. But yeah, I do think he's probably in the world now of being expendable. Voshon Ramkaran says, hope you're doing well today, James. Start Gakpo over the Bournemouth mids. I have 2 Bournemouth mids. Probably just because if he starts, you definitely want him in. I think there's a chance Liverpool will go with the same team as Sunday, but that depends on recovery, and none of us are close enough to know exactly what that's going to look like with the game not being until tomorrow either. There's no way of knowing for certain. But he's also got the ability even as a substitute. And if he doesn't start, I think he'll get longer tomorrow, more like half hour or so. And the way Newcastle defended in the second half on Sunday would give me some hope of still having returns. And I actually think Bournemouth might get beat. So I just about favour Gakpo, despite the fact I think that there's a strong possibility he doesn't start. But he's the sort of player we know could definitely impact from the bench. CMP says, on Bench Boost 33, do you prefer assistant manager Ange now or wait for Hal 30-32? If go Ange now, a wildcard 31 or 32, otherwise a wildcard 35. Bloody hell, mate. Wildcarding based around when you're using the arse, man. All I would say, CMP, is, and look, I don't know what you got with your team, right? How much do you need or don't need to wildcard? That's so relevant to this. But I'm not big on activating now for Ange. Andrew Yusuf says, hello, James. Who should I bench? Wood, Cunha, Kluivert or Isak? Reluctantly, Kluivert. Tanky says, buy Cunha this week or next week. He will be important for free hit 29. Bench boost 33 strat since he plays in 34. It's not guaranteed to play in 34. If Wolves beat Bournemouth at the weekend in the cup, mate, you might find you got a nice Cunha double in 33 instead. Look, I don't know what you're selling, Tanky. So, okay, bye. Prashan says, hi James, is it better to do Dango to Bowen or Ndiaye to Cunha this week? Worried about Dango's mins and don't like the entry for Cunha. Yeah, but you're going to be ahead of the movement for Cunha because it's going to keep coming unless he gets injured. So there's nothing wrong with being ahead. If you are going to go Bowen, it's got to be now. It's got to be now. Dango to Bowen and Ndiaye to Cunha. Presumably you can't do both. The priority on this path, I think, is going to be Cunha. Prashan. Jurgen says, hello, James. Hope you're doing well. Last game with Arteta killed me. Killed Arsenal too. Now I need a defender below 4.5. I am between Dorku. I presume it's meant to be Dorgu. And Wan-Bissaka. Any thoughts? Yeah, not Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka will probably carry you better for longer, I think. Looking at the fixtures for the rest of the season, yeah. If you don't have the wild card left, definitely Wan-Bissaka. If you are wild carding in, say, 30, which again, you know my fears about it, but primarily for those who are set into bench boosts and what my fears are for, then I don't mind Dorgu, but do you need to use it 28? You don't want to look at it in 28. So that's a fact. If you've got to play Wan-Bissaka in each of the next 5 game weeks, for example, that's better, isn't it? Charlotte Frost says, hi, James. Free transfers, who would you bench? Not free hit 29. Ahmad and Rogers to Bowen and Enzo or someone else. Hang on, well, benching someone originally here, Charlotte. Got Vissa, Palmer, Salah, Dango, Wood, Isak. Thanks. Well, what's my question here? Who would I bench? Or Ahmad and Rogers to Bowen and Enzo. I'm not keen on chasing Enzo now, unless you're going to move it on. You're saying free hit 29. Could he be useful for you 30 to 32? Probably. He still gets the minutes, but I think most who've owned him over this period would be like, don't go that. But I understand the reasoning for wanting to kind of punt it for the next couple. Not massively keen on that. In terms of the bench for the rest, it's probably Utara. Again, I wouldn't want to bench any of the others. Return of the Mane. Would you start Watkins over Dango? Love your stuff. Yes. I'll just add a little caveat on Watkins because I've kind of already mentioned it around Morgan Rogers. I think the Villa team is incredibly difficult to predict this week, and it wouldn't shock me if Watkins was even a substitute. Uros Milicevic says, hi James, I'm chasing a mini league rival and I'm going Palmer captain this game week. Would you sell Rogers for Neto / Nkunku to chase the upside? If so, who would you bench out of Wood and Dango to play the Chelsea mid? Dango is the answer. But again, if you're looking anything beyond game week 28, I would not bother with those two players. Brian Lee says, hi James, Dango and Enzo are my 4th and 5th mids. 2 free transfers. He's moving one to Bowen, worth considering, or he's rolling to field 11 in 29 better. You've had Enzo all this time and now he walks into Southampton, Leicester, and now you're going to consider selling him. I'd play him. I mean, it's a bit different to saying for Charlotte, like buy him. If you've got him already, Brian, I think you're just playing him. Alan Holohan says, any merit in playing assistant manager now to make the final weeks easy to navigate? Have all chips minus triple captain, opportunity with Glasner, Ange, etc. Was the opportunity a double too powerful of assistant manager? Look, there is a chance here you've got 5 fixtures without even needing to make a transfer, right? Newcastle Palace double in 33. That's what you've got right on the table for you. 5 fixtures, 1 with strong fixtures, 1 with a lot of bonus opportunities. I mean, that's, for me, is the priority. I realise many others will be setting for bench boost 33. What I'd add for those bench boosts in 33, please have a look at game week 30. You might land nice for it. Don't chase perfection with the bench boost. Okay, a lot of you might land really nice in 30. You're like, well, okay, if I make 2 transfers there, that might work. Just look at it. Machinator says, evening all. Do we think Scholes or Emerson will start at left back for a West Ham? I've got Emerson in my predicted lineup, but it could easily be either. If you're asking that from a fancy question, don't buy either. I don't know why you would go either over Wan-Bissaka. JP says, how good is Spence? Surely Tuchel picks him. I don't think it's a surely. I think he's done very well over the last couple of months or so. But, to be playing international football, you've got to show consistency beyond a couple of months. And now he's got the pressure of Udogie back. So, there's no reason he should lose the shirt at the moment. It obviously benefits him that he can play right and left back. But I think ideally, when everybody is fit for Ange, it'll disappoint some. But I don't think Jed Spence would be in Tottenham's best 11 in Ange's opinion. And to be honest, probably not mine. He has been great, but he's been great for a couple of months. Where's he been for the last couple of years? He's doing great, but he's got to keep going. Murphy says, hey James, play Gordon or Gakpo this week, or I can sell Gordon to Bruno, who I can bench in 28. I wouldn't want to bench Bruno Fernandes in almost any game. I'm punting a Gakpo start in 28 and selling to Haaland 29. Cheers, boss. It sounds like you've already made your decision there, Murphy, mate. You've already explained at the end what you're doing about Gakpo, so you've already made your decision. Jack Wellen says, hi James, would you start Nwaneri or Semenyo this week? Semenyo, yeah. Jack Zaris says, Robertson is in my squad for ages. When I could watch your suggestion for a premium defender, I already have Trent, Gabriel, Vardio in 29, mate. Tom Armitage says, evening James, FPL Towers phones you up and says, we're keeping the assistant manager chip next season, but you can make one change to it. What do you say? Say, all right. I'll ask someone who cares about it more. Bertica says, hey James, the only way to get Palmer in this week is for a hit. Thoughts on Son and Sarr out? It's mad, isn't it, with Palmer? It's literally, he's done nothing. People saying, hey, is he expendable? Is he expendable? And I'm just sitting here every week going, hold up, look at them Southampton Leicester fiction. Now we're here, and After Planet wants to captain him. It is amusing. The only way to get to Palmer this week is for a hit. Thoughts on Son and Sarr out for Palmer and Nwaneri, or Minter for the -4? Or should I risk no Palmer and roll? Cheers, pal. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go without Cole Palmer for these next 2 games. It was never a consideration to move him out under any circumstances for me because of now. He gets 5 tonight. Yeah, all them blanks would have been worthwhile, except I'm not captaining him, so I'm losing tonight, and I actually want him to blank again, I guess, the way it stands. Yeah, I'd get him in, mate. Jacob Frost says, hi James, thanks for the great insight each week. Would you play Dango and Wood or sell Rodgers for Bowen and then bench one of them and start 3 of Trent, House and Robinson Hall? I'd get Bowen, I'd bench Dango, I would bench Hall from that lot. Josh Davis says, apologies because it's not deadline related, but would you rather wildcard 29 and bring 5 free transfers with you for 32, 33, or use them all in 29 and keep wildcard in back pocket? Cheers, mate. And come you Spurs. To be honest, Josh, it's a little bit team dependent, right? Because you might be buying 5 shit players with them transfers in 29, or you might be going, right, well, I'm going Haaland, Vardiol, I'm buying players that's really useful for you on a path. So it's a little bit, again, I often say this, right? The who. I like 29 wildcard more and more, but I'm very short on chips. I don't think it's one specifically for the majority. Eddie Haas says, hey James, 1 free transfer, 1 million in the bank. At the moment of starting Gakpo and benching Murphy, would you move to Cunha or Kluivert this week? Which move or roll and save Gakpo and Murphy for good fixtures next week? No free hit 29, cheers. I would go Gakpo to Cunha now, I think. And I think you can come back for maybe Murphy to a Bournemouth player in 29 as an example, maybe. So, yeah, I would prioritise going Cunha. I know there's a bit of a theory knocking about with the way the PSG games land that Gakpo plays against Southampton in 28. Yeah, there's 2 games of information to learn whether that's likely or not. And I think you're sick if you hold on and then you're sitting here in 10 days going, does he start? Doesn't he start? You're going to end up making that move. I would go Cunha now. Steve says, hi James, do I sell Trent and Pedro to 8 Nori and Cunha or leave it until 29 due to Liverpool game next week? Thanks. Trent's a different one, isn't it? But again, you know, we can't rule out the possibility of, say, Quansah playing against Southampton. We shouldn't. But I think the fact Trent has been managed across his return, I think the intention will be for him just to play the games, and the Southampton game, chances are they get the game won early and take him off 65, 70, something like that. That's probably the most likely scenario. So, yeah, I wouldn't move Trent with 2 home games at this point. That's a little bit different. Plus, we can be certain that Trent starts this one, right? We can't be certain that Gakpo starts this one. So, Trent, I'd be hanging on to, mate. Pedro, as it stands, I assume will start. So, this is one where I'd say more, yeah, it probably is a wait. Steve says, hi James, do I sell Trent? I've just done that. Joe Pickerel, is 10 playing players in 29 plus Fabianski enough not to free hit? 1 out of 10 is Greaves. Again, it's not the how many, it's the who, mate. So if you've got 9 good players, this doesn't even need to be 9, you've got 7 good players. If you're going into 29 and you've got Haaland, Cunha, Wood, maybe a Vardiol, bit of Bournemouth mid coverage, Bumo, I'm stressed about nothing else, mate. Maybe 1 Arsenal defensive. I wouldn't stress about nothing else. So it's the who is way more important than the how many, mate. Dan Butler says, would you do Gakpo to Cunha and Utara to Bowen, Bumo, 2 free transfer? Lots of shits remaining. Thanks. Smash a like. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, man, I've gone the Bowen move, so yes and Bowen. Adil Hamid says, good evening, James. Everyone smashed a like. The man is brilliant. Thank you. If on dilemmas, ignore. Crazy to bench Wood and play Enzo, Utara, Kluivert. I play Wood over the Bournemouth players. You'll know my preference by now, Kluivert. Captain Palmer, good luck. AJ says, would you bench any of Wood or Isak or Cunha to fill Dango this week? No. Darren Jenkins says, start Utara or Isak. Isak, better player, but realistically shouldn't get anything at Anfield. I mean, he terrorised Liverpool last time we played him. So, yeah, Alexander Isak is just not for benching for me, mate. No. Actually, Newcastle did win tomorrow night. Who's doing the damage? Is it that implausible? Oh, Isak's a phenomenon, mate. I'm comfortable benching a player like that. Would you consider benching Haaland if it was Haaland at Liverpool? This is comparable. Alex MJ87 says, hi James, would you do Rodgers to Nkunku for a hit if it meant benching Dango? Running through 20? No, not if running through. Moenel says, buy Bowen to bench João Pedro. You're probably all right with João Pedro this week. So, I mean, buying Bowen, fine. Doing it to specifically bench João Pedro. Is Bowen a better option this week? Yeah. Does it give you a bit of better cover? Probably, yeah. Okay, but I wouldn't force it. Khalid says, hello, legend. Would you start Enzo over Dango? Yes. And Aït-Nouri over Robinson. Aït-Nouri versus Robinson. God, that one's close. Yeah, I probably would go Aït-Nouri. Little bit more likelihood of actually scoring would probably be the influence on that. FPL Uproar says, hello James, would you consider benching one of Kluivert, Mateta, Isak or Cunha? If you've already factored this into your benching dilemma, please feel free to disregard my suggestion. Good luck, mate. 2 of them on the benching dilemmas, 2 on the captaincy matrix. You'll find the answer. I think you already know by now what I'm going to say. Connor O'Loughlin says, afternoon James, start Robinson or João Pedro. Struggling inside if it's worth the risk. Thank you. I think João Pedro will play, so I'm going to say that, mate. Tanky says, Watkins to Cunha this or next week? I have 4 free transfers. You know what, Tanky, I'm going to say now. I'm going to say now, listen, Watkins, great player. You know the capability there. But I do think, as I said, there's a chance he's benched. And then I think you spend 10 days thinking about you're going to Cunha very soon anyway. I'd get it done, actually. I'd get it done. Obviously, look, you could get beat this week making that transfer, but I'd be very tempted to just get that done. Nikolai says, interested to hear your thoughts on Chelsea mids for 2 weeks, James. For 2 weeks, sure, fine. The consequence of 29 at Arsenal and then all the rest of the squad sounds like they're going to be fit for game week 30 is problematic for players, particularly in Nkunku. It's impactful for Fernandes' positioning. Although, ironically, a Lavia return might be good for Fernandes and his positioning further down the line. But then that's not good for minutes for anybody else. Neto, could do well over the next couple. All right? Let's be honest, any Chelsea player could do well over the next couple. But Neto, I see him more as like, if you said to me right now, Neto's going to score in both games, how many points do you think he's going to get? I'm going to say to you 11. As in he returns in both. So I'm going to go, right, there's one assist with a clean sheet point, and then there's another assist in another game with no clean sheet point. Roughly. Now listen, 11 points over 2 games, not to be sniffed at, but is that worth chasing? I'm hoping Nkunku tops that tonight because I think that's where the explosiveness is. So if you want to chase it, I do think he's the one to go for. He has a little bit more risk attached to him, I think, in terms of minutes and performance-wise. It's not just there, but you know what? Sometimes fixtures breed form, but I wouldn't want any of them beyond 28. FPL Frost says, would you rather have 2 free hits a season instead of the assistant manager? Probably not, because I think one thing with the assistant manager is lots of variation of chip strategies going on. Nothing that's good for the game. I think with 2 free hits, you could easily look at it and go, right, I'm just going to free hit in 2 blanks and I just head towards double players. I don't know if that's ideal, mate. Henriette says, good evening, James. If not answered on benching dilemma, would delete. Could you help me choose which 3 to play from Gabriel, Robinson, Aït-Nouri, Kirkez and Howson? Thanks, smash the like. Thank you. I would probably bench the Bournemouth players. Darren Jenkins says, with so many going to Palmer captain, makes picking Salah as captain even better option? Question. I'm not really interested in what other people are doing, Darren. If people want to jump, if Salah outscores Palmer, then it's winner chicken dinner, isn't it? So, kind of obvious. Garlic25 says, hi James, thanks to you I sold Gakpo and Emery last week for Glasner and Cunha. I'm in an 8-point week. I'll accept brown envelopes. Best replacement for Gordon. Already have Eze, Palmer, Salah, Rodgers. Thanks, Jared Bowen. James, not James. Gakpo for Cunha. I presume you mean Cunha for Gakpo. Yeah, I covered that for someone else. Michael Bianchi this afternoon. James and company on Emery as my arse man. Would you take a -4 to move it to Angel Pereira? Thanks. Oh, God. The thing is, if you hit it, you can see the benefit at the moment, can't you? You can see the benefit of it. but you might have to get a victory for that to be worthwhile. I'm going to say no, mate. I'm going to say no, but if you truly believe in it, I'm very reluctant to tell anyone not to take that sort of gamble because of what it can be, right? So if you believe in it enough, do it. The fact that you're asking the question suggests to me maybe you don't, but hashtag play it your way. Nixie713 says hi, hello. PT92 says hi, James. Bearing in mind I have Cunha versus Fulham, do I start Robinson and transfer Rodgers to Kluivert, or transfer Hall to Ray Nori and start him instead of Robinson and risk Rodgers with a Langer first bench? Strategy is so important here, Petey, because like if you bought Lewis Hall at 4.4 and you're not wildcarding before game week 32, my advice would be don't sell him. This makes questions like this extremely difficult to answer because I don't know what your longer term plan is. Like, oh yeah, he's got Liverpool away, bin Hall. Nah, there's a bigger picture here, isn't there? I don't mind buying Ryan Nori. I think the timing to buy Kluivert doesn't feel right. Nothing wrong with having a Langer as first cover. I'd arguably maybe even pick a Langer over Rodgers this week on the basis of what I've been saying during the course of this stream. But yeah, if you like, you say, oh, I'm going to wildcard in 31, I've got no value in Hall. Yeah, fine, sell him. But this is so relevant to answering your question. Jurgen says, hello, James. Hope you're doing well. Last game with Arteta killed me. I've already answered that one for you, mate. Repeat questions really, yeah. They annoy everybody. JB Blumenstock says, bench dilemma, Gakpo, Wood, Kluivert, Dango. I'm going to say Dango. Alex Burmester, bench one of Dango, Semenyo, João Pedro Vissa. Same answer. Hanny says, hi, James. Bench one of Kluivert, Dango, Isak, Wood. Do you know what, guys? Just bench Dango Utara and watch him get 15 points this week. But nearly every benching question I've answered, I've said Dango Utara. Hanny says, hi, James. Bench one, Kluivert, Dango, Isak, Wood. Charles, hi, James. Should start Howson or Robinson. Thanks, mate. Robinson. Dara Sam Maguire, hey, James. Company 69k. Stop the laughing at the back, kids. What's your best tip to maintain rank as top 100k was the target? Well, staying within and around the template. And if you can be just ahead of it, then you're playing the game correctly, aren't you? Look, you've got yourself into a good position, Dara. I don't know how or why you've got there, mate, so keep doing what you're doing. Simik says, hey, James, opinions on Hall to 8 Nori, not free hitting in 29. Thanks. So you're playing through. Yeah, but then there's the factor of 32. So you wildcarding before that. What's the value you've got in Hall? So to sum up, right, is every chance I'm going to wildcard in game week 29 and still have Lewis Hall. Now, 8 Nori going with him, by the way. Almost definitely, if I take that route. If I run through game week 29, I probably want to take him with me because I bought him at 4.4 and he's going to be useful for me. What am I going to do? Thump it to another... I'm going to get Nico Williams instead as well because he plays Ipswich in 29. Nico Williams might be part of a wild card for me as well, right? No, I'm keeping my guys I've got the value in, so that's so important to consider when you're carrying through. You might have, for all I know, loads of value in like a Mateta or Munoz or something. I don't know, right? So, but that's really important. If you don't have value in him and you're not bothered about having him for Newcastle's run from 30 onwards, be in him. You, my friend, whose name I can never pronounce. I want to give you a name. Can you tell me, like in English, how to say your name? Because I'd love to say it. Anyway, the question is, I'm confused and don't know when to free hit, but what do you think about Gordon's Foden for next 3-4? No, I think there's a possibility he doesn't even start tomorrow. So, no from me. Finley Scanner says, Watkins to Cunha, Rodgers to Bowen for 2 free transfers. No free hit 29 with Arsman, wildcard, bench boost, free hit left. Sounds fine to me, Finley. Vinny says, why is Bowen not a good captain? Go on then. I'm thinking of going Bowen as differentials. I do not feel comfortable with Palmer due to lack of form. Could you give me pros and cons if possible? Yeah. West Ham are shit. 16th in the league, mate. They won at Arsenal. They're the best team in the world. Well done, Hammers. I'm properly pleased that you did that. Okay, thank you. I was going to say Leicester are better than Southampton, but I'm not convinced they are anymore. You want to do it? Do it. Do it. Crack on. Look around at what's happening with Palmer. Having Bowen, think of it this way as well. Having Bowen this week is going to be enough of a differential. I know a lot of people are buying him, but I think this with an engaged community, and I think the EO will still be pretty low for him this week. I think. So I think you'll find owning him will do you great if he does great anyway. You captain Bowen and Palmer does better, you're losing. If you wanted a reason to go against, and ultimately the biggest reason is bollocks Southampton. And I'm going Mo anyway. Gavin Hartzenberg says great content and graphics. Thank you, mate. FPL Captain's the man on the graphics, the hidden star behind the stream. Shafran Kanaka says, hi James, would you do Rodgers and Watkins to Bowen and Cunha and bench Nuano? Rodgers and Watkins to Bowen and Cunha, bench Nuano. Could do it for free next week. Feel like going a week early. Right, so I'm going to guess that to go, you can't just go Bowen in for Rodgers, because if you just go Bowen and Rodgers and maybe leave the other one, sure. I don't mind it, you know. I presume this is a -4. I don't mind it. Tarn R says, evening James, do you reckon assistant manager Glasner 31 to 33 is a must, given possible 5 bonus games? Okay, listen. How can it be a must when we're saying possible? We've literally gone within the space of, we've got must and we've got given in between possible. We've got something that's possible. Right, until it's possible, it's not a must. 36-38 still on is the alternative question. You might be, but yeah, my full intention is to play the assistant manager over that period. Jane says, Watkins to Cunha for free transfer this week or next week. I would go now, mate. Shout out Dave Hannigan. I hope you're well. Mazin Mohammed says, start Housen or Milenkovic. Ooh. I possibly just about favour Milenkovic a little bit. Shout out for our patrons watching live, by the way. If we've thank you for your support first and foremost. If we've got anything coming in terms of team news, please drop me a tag on Slack and we'll let the community know here. Sorry, I'm reading a message. Okay, it's not confirmed. There is a rumour going around in Bournemouth, in the Bournemouth community at the moment, which is not confirmed by anything legible as far as I can see. There's a rumour going around about a potential serious injury to Dean Howson. That's just to make you aware of that. That's not anything confirmed. Just reading through comments in our Slack community, there's a few screenshots going around of a few people that have saying they've heard a rumour. That's it. So I'm just passing that information on good faith. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm not saying that it's false. I know what you know, and I'm just passing it on in good faith in the same way. So that's a rumour going around in the Bournemouth community at the moment that there might be a potential serious knee injury to Dean Howson. Obviously, don't buy Dean Howson at this moment. There you go. That's an obvious thing to say. I don't suppose you were doing that this week, having just had some good fixtures and now a couple of tougher ones. Next up, so Mazin, Milenkovic, although it might not matter, mate. David Hunter says, favourite Chelsea punt and Kunku. FPL Joe, hi James, start 3 of Castagne, Milenkovic, Munoz, Hall and 8 Nori. Munoz, 8 Nori, Milenkovic. Zach D says, evening James, help me start one of Hall, Rodgers or Murphy. I'd still start Rodgers even out of that with, can I be honest with you, Zach, transfer, mate. Can you get Rodgers or Murphy into something else? FPL Eze says, hi James, have 2 Arsenal players bench, which feels odd. Your score prediction makes me feel better though. I don't like backing Arsenal to lose. I don't do it often, which I guess maybe speaks volumes a little bit. Is Timber Nwaneri bench for Colwell Wood the right decision? Thanks. Yes, it is. I think so, yeah. Ahmed Ashmawi says, hello James, start 1, Colwell, Robinson, House and Colwell. Alex says, Grandmaster J, thoughts on Neto as second Chelsea over Bowen, using for next 2 and a solid bench and 2 additional free transfers, free hit 29. I'm not keen, Alex, as kind of already mentioned, but it's punt, right? Let's be honest, I'm not big on Nkunku. I've punted it for reasons explained. Alistair Hargreaves says bench Konate or Kirkes. Dave Hannigan says, hi, James. Keeper dilemma. Pickford or Fleck and cheers. Ooh, home advantage Flecken, I think. Daniel says, hope you're well, James. Buy Bowen for Rodgers, 1 free transfer, bench Dango, just roll. Thanks and best of luck. If you're going Bowen, it's now, mate. So, yeah, gonna say that, mate. Ayrton Sinya says, I'm on free hit 29. Would you sell Wood for Cunha? Not if I had good value in Wood. Ultimately, that would be a decisive moment here. Like, if you've got big value in Wood, no. Yeah, you had Wood at 6 million or whatever he was at the start. No, I'd keep him in. If not, then I'd be tempted, but I'm not of the persuasion to think Cunha is significantly better than Wood this week. I don't actually. So I think if in doubt, it's probably a wait at the moment. The ideal scenario, of course, really for 29 is to have both. But I accept you're saying you're free hitting in 29, and that is the circumstance where Wood becomes a bit more expendable. So I think your answer here, Ayrton, is in the value, which is obviously I can't see that. Liam Doyle says 1 free transfer and Ahmad and Vandenberg in my team, also with 5 blankers for 29. Planning to sell Ahmad and Vandenberg now for a hit. Roll to 29. Sell Rodgers and Watkins and bench Salah, Hall, Isak. Who to bring in now? Stuff that's going to carry you well. So a Bowen would be 1. You're selling value in Watkins, which is going to allow you to get up to other players. So Aït-Nouri, Cunha, Bowen, Bumo, Vissar, Cliver, Semenyo, these guys. These are your guys. Sam Ratledge says, hi, James. Hope you and your family are well. Benching Dilemmas has answered my questions. So just here to wish you good luck ahead of the game week. Thank you, mate. Best of luck to you too. Sorry, just reading a potential message about Harson. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing additional to what I'd already said to you. So if you just joined in, yes, there is speculation that Dean Howson might have picked up an issue, a potential serious one. It's only a rumour. It's not confirmed by any sources that I know or trust, but it is a rumour going around. Sam Routledge, thank you. Murphy FTW1 says, hi, James. Kevin here in top 1k. Nice. And looking to get ahead. Dango to Bowen and benching Clive at worth it. I'm non-free hit 29, but not confident in Dango's minutes now. Bowen would lock me out of Vardy old game with 29, so wouldn't stress about that. I wouldn't be that surprised if Brighton go to Man City and win in 29. Yo Murphy says, top man James Nwaneri or Semenyo dilemma help. I would play Semenyo. Murphy, to answer your question, yeah, go Bowen anyway, mate. Vicky Maddox says, bench Gabriel or Kirkes. I would play Gabriel. Colbine Olofsson says, what is the current predicted number of double game at fixtures in 33 and 36? On my projections, and projections are different to predictions, on my projections, currently 6 teams doubling in 33, none in 36. That's not to tell you that's what's going to happen. That's the current projections. You can find my projections on FPL Team, who this deadline stream is in partnership with. Lewis JG 2011 says, is it worth a -4 to go from Watkins to Cunha when I need to make the transfer anyways? Arguably, yes. I'll tell you why, because it might give you another transfer on your path. Rahimi 42 says, bench Kanate or Hall. I've lost your question. Sorry, mate. I saw someone say, smash a like. Yeah, smash a like, everyone. Someone said smash a like. Yeah, it's true. Bench Kanate or Hall, considering I'm starting Trent. Play Kanate, mate. Lewis Hall got 3 assists. I think he's going to do it again against Liverpool. He's probably not, mate. Imitaz Ahmed says, start Trent and VVD versus Isak or bench VVD. Judging by our Newcastle defended the set piece for Milenkovic's goal on Sunday, I'd probably just play Van Dijk. I played a lot. Didier Drogball says, just love to see you every day, James, for midnight in Thailand. Thank you, mate. Hope all's well. Voshan Ramkaran says, okay, my last question. I'm choosing between buying Cunha or Marmoush. I want to start Robinson, which makes me not want Cunha, and go with Marmoush, benching Kirkes for Robinson. I'd buy Cunha, mate. Simple as that. Mark says, is Howell's approach to this week's match likely to be affected by the fact that the teams are about to meet in the League Cup final? Yes, as suggested as such yesterday, that I think they'll play the game tactically tomorrow differently to however they choose to play the final. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of rogue selections. For example, I've got Harvey Barnes in my predicted Newcastle lineup. Confuseld says, thoughts on selling Flappy to Jose Sarr in 29. I have Henderson, so rotating the two between 20 and 31 means goalkeeper plays one of the bottom three each week. Yeah, but I wouldn't rush to get it done. So, yeah, make sure he's still in the team and performing okay. Robin Richmond says, Munoz and Robinson always seem to be right next to each other on your dilemmas. Hope I don't get it wrong again this week. Good luck, James. Well, I guess they've returned similarly this year. Might have something to do with it. Sean Seaton, I'm going to say Clivert over Semenyo. Thank you, FPL Frosh, doing a sterling job, mate. Lee Jolly says Benchwood or Clivert. Clivert. Natuk says Neto and Kunku. I've gone on Kunku. Andreas Brega says hi, James. Start Flecken or Allison. Daniel DeMatta says hi, James. Worth a -8 to take out Rogers, Savio and Gakpo. For Bumo, Bowen and Cunha. And bench Clivert for 27. I'll just do a -4 this week. -4 this week, but I like the transfers generally. SN says, hey, James, any thoughts on who to play as assistant manager? For me, Howe or Glasner, 31 to 33. If you're doing it now, yikes. Do you want to chase the bonus? Do you know what? If you were going now, there's a chance you might get 3 games out of Pereira. I know someone was asking about Ange earlier. I don't think Ange will get 3 games. You might get... Wolves can't climb, right? So whoever they play that's 12th or above, you're going to get the bonus from, right? So we've got Fulham, bonus. Oh, no, it's not. You won't get the bonus out of Everton. You could do. Because Everton could jump to 12th. Yeah, and then it works, doesn't it? You could. And even still, okay, it's home game. And then afterwards, you've got... Oh, no, it's Southampton. God, I'm talking out my fucking arse, aren't I? As if Southampton away is a bonus. Someone shoot me. Sorry. I don't like activating the arse man now. There you go. Said it. Sinner says, Consul Robinson. Victor South said, I don't like capital letters, mate. My lowercase kind of a man. Bench one defender. Castagne, Kirkes or Nico Williams. I'm starting Cunha and have no Arsenal or Brighton players. By the way, if that matters. Probably does, mate. Bench Castagne. Sombu G. Hi, James. Rogers to Bowen. Bench Wood. I wouldn't bench Wood, mate. Don't like that. Shout out to our patrons. Again, if we've got any information coming in terms of team news, it would be very, very much appreciated. I just realised I forgot to do my fantasy challenge this week. Sad, isn't it? Oh, dear. What a shame. My draft team's looking a bit shit this week. I'm in 2 minutes, guys. I'm going to jump to the end of the chat just in case there's anything maybe come in terms of late news. Don't try and be clever and trip me up. Cameron says, hi, James. What you do? Hope you're doing well. Bench Wood or Isak? I wouldn't bench Isak, right? They're next to each other. Page 1 of benching dilemmas. Matthew Hall, bench Mikolenko or Hall. James Wright, smash the like, everyone. Thank you. Ryan Tompkins. Hi, James. Would you do João Pedro to Cunha this week? Or wait until 29, given Fulham, Everton, not obvious easy fixtures for Cunha. Given the potential rumour of news about Howson, I'm quite reluctant to move Pedro. Again, we don't have that information is correct, but arguably wait. Abigail says, have 1 million in the bank and 1 free transfer. Looking to move my manager from Emery. Want Ange, but can't afford without hits. Excuse me, just go Glasner. Is there a better option? I mean, the betting odds would tell you Glasner's a better pick than Ange anyway, so I wouldn't take the hit under that circumstance. David Kent says, hi, James. Bench Dango or Enzo? Cheers, pal. Dango. Sam says, hi, James. Start Greaves or Hall or take a -4. If so, who's the best defender for under 5.4 million? Won't be free hit on 29. Already have Munoz. Good luck, mate. I would start Jacob Greaves because Manchester United are disastrous at defending set pieces. Genuinely. I hate it, but that's what I would do. Lukey Boy 123 says, apparently Howson did his ACL, just rumours. Yeah, that's what's been covered. Thank you. Andrew Sands says, James Stud, can you stop mentioning KLP in your pods, pretty please? He's the first player on my end of season watch list. Could be a bargain and OOP player next season. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, he genuinely could be an extremely popular pick in FPL next season. He really could be. Ayrton Sinner, I think I've done you, mate. Not literally. That would be weird. Almost Seko says, would you do Dango to Bowen, bench Cliver? Cheers, good luck. I probably would, yeah. Michelangelo says, hi James, I will free hit 29 due to lots of Newcastle, Palace and Liverpool. Still have bench boost, Arsenal and wildcard. How should I go about maximising these? So your free hit 29. See how your team looks for game week 30 first and foremost. Can you bench boost there? If not, man. It does depend on the rest of your team a little bit, mate. Because I don't think anyone lands badly enough in game week 30. You're carrying all them players and free hitting 29. You're going to walk into what fixtures respectively against Everton, Southampton and Brentford. Like you shouldn't be landing badly in 30. That's why I say look at bench boost 30. If you can do bench boost 30, if you then land good enough to then go wildcard 31, Arseman 32, 34, or Arseman 31 to 33, and then wildcard 34, cover that blank and then move to the end. It is a little bit dependent. Please look at the variations of the options. Shit is going to look a lot clearer after this weekend. Chip Strategy Podcast next Tuesday. We are a minute from deadline, by the way, guys. So I'm not going to take on any more questions. If people have got any non-FPL and they want to put it in the chat, you can start kind of feeding that in now. What do they do at centre? It could be Lewis Cook at centre backs as FPL Frost. Yeah, under that circumstance. Owen White, I will come back onto your question. I've seen it. I think we're at deadline, guys. So that's it done. We've just released a short with information on Manchester United and the canteen stuff. Yeah, if anyone's got any non-FPL, we're at deadline, guys. If anyone's got any non-FPL questions, wants to throw it in the chat, I'll happily cover it off. I am in the office, so I'm going to get kicked out of here quite soon, so I'm going to wrap this up in 10 minutes or so. If you came just for the FPL stuff, good luck, everyone. As Ryan said, smash a like, hit the sub button. Clayton be back with me for the Clayton and James show tomorrow. Ask James Thursday scheduled for 11 a.m. That time might change. We've got the Game Week 27 review podcast. Myself and Clayton are doing that this Friday. The deadline stream for Game Week 28 will be not this Saturday, but the Saturday afterwards, and that's 10 a.m. UK time. Nottingham Forest versus Manchester City is the early kickoff. Questions. Okay. Andy Ken saying no deadline on FPL challenge, mate. Plenty of time. To be honest, Andy, I kind of hope there is one. And I know Matt saying the House and News sounds like nonsense. Yeah, I just with a club like Bournemouth, I don't know how anyone kind of gets off that, spreading that kind of information. Hopefully for the player, 19-year-old player who's done outstanding, really hopefully it's not true. Although if he's broke the toenail and he's out till game week 29, that'll do for me because checks mates. Yeah, Tottenham next week. Right, Owen White says thoughts on Manchester United's cost cutting, estimated to need to be saving 40-50 million per year to be able to keep spending 200 million on transfers and stay in PSR compliance. Cuts are terrible on the personal level. They are. What I'd say is I'm going to kind of rehash it too much, Owen, because we spoke about it on this morning's Clash of the Correspondents, which I'd recommend people have a listen back to if they've got time between now and the 7:30 kickoffs. Good pod with Gary and Paul on Manchester United versus Ipswich. When we cover the cost issues at Manchester United, I'm concerned. I use Ratcliffe in a comparison to Alan Sugar, which I think is worth listening to what Gary's opinion on that is. But yeah, and that side of looking in, it's not great, is it? It's not. The money that they're saving on some of the stories that are coming out, they're going to lose in goodwill from people. You can't treat football clubs like just another business. And if that's what, I'm not saying that's what Ratcliffe is doing, but if that is what he's doing, it will fail. Kevin Maher says, hi James, as a Spurs fan, I went to these 3 games in the 70s. Oh my God. 1-0 home to Arsenal, this is a loss in 71. Man City 5-0 in 77, which relegated us. And the 5-0 home to Arsenal around Boxing Day in 78. If you had to go to one, which one? The City 5-0 away. Because that one doesn't involve the other lot. So that one. Willie Chambers says, thanks for putting the format together, James. Awesome that you're always ready to help people having mental wellness issues as well as being the FPL guru. What do Brit fans think of Taurus? The fucking move on. Now you mention it though, my friend, let me just say, as ever, my DMs are open for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's if anyone feels like they need to reach out. I tend to, honestly, it still happens countless times every day, FPL questions, and just think, after I don't read them. You have to understand that if you DM me with an FPL question, I might not even pay any attention to it. So you're going to get a shit answer from me. Because I'm probably looking at it when I'm like half asleep and stuff as well. My DMs are open for people who want to reach out because they feel like they need to reach out. That's what I want to be here for people. What do Brit fans think of Taurus? We covered this a little while ago. Me and Suj covered it, and to be fair, it might have been on a Patreon pod. I think, thinking about it now, I think it probably was. I think there's a culture to British fandom that is different to, you know, European fandom. Me and my dad was having a chat only at the weekend about kind of ultras out in Europe and their kind of way being different to our way. You know, the kind of the marching together to stadiums and stuff like that. Their culture is different. I'm not saying it's wrong, by the way. I think there is, from a proportion of match attending fans, a snobbery of I've always been here kind of attitude. I have absolutely no problem with it. I think there's an influence of that maybe on a couple of things. One, obviously I see a lot of Koreans at the ground now because of Sunny and stuff. It's fine. They're more than welcome. But two, in any case, I think for me, supporting a club that is in a very diverse area. I was going to say of London, but I mean, London's quite diverse, but it is a very diverse area of London anyway. I've always been used to multicultural people being at Tottenham. So it's not something that's not normal. And I don't want to name a certain club, but there might be some clubs where you'll have people who've gone for 40 years or so, and it is just kind of the white male. And you see different things, and then people kind of, well, what's he doing here? What's she doing here? That kind of thing. You know, hopefully we've moved on past that. So I think the answer, if I'm honest, I think nearly everybody in here, I'd like to think, would have absolutely zero issue with it. If people are contributing to supporting the team, I don't really give a shit where they're from, right? It would only be if they're not supporting the team. So if I've got a tourist that's sitting next to me and he's wearing a different team's colour shirt, I'm kind of, what are you doing here? I'm wearing a Tottenham shirt. I don't care where you're from. Doesn't have to be wearing colours, by the way, but you need to be supporting my team. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think that's necessarily the case everywhere. But I think most people are generally fine with it. Josh Davis says, best and worst holiday you've been on? Worst. The thing is, holidays are not so much about the places you've been necessarily. They might be more about your experiences, right? So I can tell you, we had a holiday when I was 14 in the Costa Brava, and that's the worst holiday I ever had. But that wasn't because of the place or was anyone's fault. It was me and that age, right? You can imagine. We've all been that age, most of us. So if you haven't yet, good luck. Terrible age. So I would say that. Best holiday didn't last long, but this one time I went to Amsterdam for a night, and it was pretty good. And do you know what? If you don't think it's holiday, I don't care. DLG27 says, free signings to improve Man United this summer. Rory Delap got a shout out on Clash of Correspondence, I think, yesterday. A bit of a long throw specialist might be good for United. Free signings to improve United this summer. We don't even know what they can and they can't do, mate. So it's more about players that have got to fit the system if you are going to go and back this manager, rather than specific, oh, I'm going to buy him. Like we speak about Liam Delap. I don't think United can afford Liam Delap at the moment. So, yeah, you'd need to know what the business model is of what they can and can't do in the summer. So it might even be that United need to go down a route of buying younger players from the Championship, you know, hoping you find the next Delap or the next Eze or something like that. Generally, it's the sort of market they might have to operate in that in the summer. Rhett says, how's Prince Harry been recently? I presume you're referring to my son rather than he who now lives out in America. Yeah, it's fine. It's good, mate. Thank you for asking. Eddie says, what would be your transfer priority for the summer for Spurs? Mine would definitely be a quality 6. Got nothing to add to that, Eddie. Yeah, absolutely that, mate. Not that I love Rod, but yeah, next level stuff needs to be a top 6. Paul Dolan says, watching any good Netflix shows? Don't forget to like everyone. I don't get time to watch anything, to be honest, really, mate. I will watch Stranger Things when it's on towards the end of the year. I said that on our Q&A the other day, but don't, mate. Sorry. Jordan Harrison says, what do you think of the growing gap between the Premier League and the Championship? Seems harder than ever for newly promoted clubs. It does. And you look at this year, Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, grim. And you look at last year, and it's Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton, scrim. And you look at the year before, and you go Bournemouth, Fulham, Forest, and you go, fuck me, they might all qualify for Europe. So that's only 2 years ago. You know, Leeds had a great result last night. Look like they're going to come up. That's the sort of powerful club that can come in and really make a difference. There's every chance to be Sheffield United and Burnley come back with them. They'll find it tough. It's reality. It's fucking rough. Must be fucking... Honestly, must be really rough to support those clubs who yo-yo. Because then the joy of even doing anything, and then at the end you sit down, and after you've celebrated, you're probably going to win 5 times next year. It's like rough, man. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But Bournemouth, Forest, Fulham, and there's been other examples in previous years. You know, Brighton is a great model example. Brentford. Brentford is a small football club, man. And they're like part of the furniture now. What an amazing job they've done. Andrew Sands, top 3 Mr. Kipling cakes. The pink one, the yellow one, the brown one. I couldn't tell you what they're called, mate. Perfect sell, mushy peas or gravy on chips. Gravy. That's neither, mate. Salt and vinegar. Alex Muick, what is a possible solution for promoted teams being able to compete? I get my Saints are crap, but it feels impossible to compete with a year of championship money in the accounts. I mean, at the moment, the handicap's on the PSR, which is bad. So they come up and they can make a loss of less than what the other teams are already up. That's wrong. They've got the parachute money because that's distorting the championship as well, because the same teams are going down and then coming back up. Then you look at a case like Ipswich, like we shouldn't be critical of Ipswich this year. Remember, they've had 2 consecutive promotions. Maybe they'll stabilise and they'll do better if they come back the next time, right? Or maybe they're going to be like, sorry, dare I say it, another Norwich. Leicester have had financial troubles. I think Southampton was real bad mismanagement before they got relegated. You'll know that better than myself, Alex. I don't know what the solution is, but you've got to box clever, and you know Forest kind of spent excessively, stayed, and now are doing some smart stuff where they're trying to compete. Fulham, I think, have done things like fairly sensibly. Bournemouth have got a lot of data work going on behind the scenes now that Bill Foley's taken over the club, but Bill Foley wasn't at the club when they got promoted. It's not easy. It's really not. And these teams are getting stronger. Like I mentioned, a club like Brentford, right? It's a small club, right? You'd look at them and go, if I said to you now, who do you think's in trouble for relegation next year, right? Wolves again? West Ham under par? Everton now? No. United? Realistically, probably not. You see like a Palace, a Brentford, a Fulham or a Brighton getting sucked back in, or a Bournemouth or a Forest? No. And these teams are good. You know what these teams all have? The majority of them. Not all, but the majority. And I've spoken about this a number of times. The standard of managers in the Premier League, I think, is incredible at the moment. So maybe that's the difference maker, is a top manager. But you don't want to remove someone who's just got you promoted. I don't get that. Victor South says, hi James, do you think Forest will make it to Champions League? Yes, I do. I've said for weeks that I felt if they got to the end of game at 28 and were in the top 5, that they would do it. And it's looking increasingly likely they will, following certain results like Bournemouth losing at the weekend. They've got a gap now with sort of anything. The next 2 is probably going to keep them in that position. And I think they get something across the next 2. So, I think they'll do it. Eddie says, now we're back. Are you as excited as I am about winning Europa and Champions League back to back? Yeah, you load up Football Manager, mate. FPL Frost says, best brand of balsamic vinegar for your sandwich. You know, mate. I ain't fussy. Who's putting vinegar in a sandwich unless it's a chip butty? In which case, it's just the vinegar from the chippy, innit? So I don't know what it is. David James Whiteway says, what's better, Fox's Classic or McVitie's Gold Bar? McVitie's Gold Bar? Fuck's that. I'm going to have to say the Classic, aren't I? Nicholas says, oh, there's loads of questions. I'm going to end with Russell Baker, I can see. And I'm going to do these quick, so I'm going to get kicked out of it, guys. He says, hesitating. Nicola Torco, James, hope your week's going well, not just FPL game week, but the real life one, you know, the one with food and sunlight. Important FPL, not deadline related question for you. Would you rather A, win your mini league but never be allowed to eat pizza again, or B, come last in your mini league but have unlimited pizza for life? Your integrity as a manager is on the line. I don't think eating pizza every day would be good for me, mate. And it's not. I love a pizza, probably as much as the next person, but I could definitely survive with never having another one. So there you go. But it depends, right? Like which mini league we're talking about, because the one with the mates, I'm fucking pissed at every year anyway. They're shit. Simon Witham says boost or biscuit and raisin Yorkie. Raisin Yorkie? What is that? Raisin Yorkie? No, mate. No. FPL Up Pro. Cheers for the stream, James. Have a good evening. You too. King of Mandalore. Thoughts and Carragher's comments on AFCON. The comments were one thing, right? It's opinion, right? And let's be honest, it's not unfair to say that the quality it's not as difficult as winning, say, the Euros. In fact, you know what? It probably is as difficult, but it's more a case of how many teams from AFCON do you perceive have got a realistic chance to win the World Cup, where there's, say, 7 or 8 in, say, the Euros? That's more the point. What he was trying to say didn't come out well. I got the point he was trying to make. What wasn't good was the kind of when Micah Richards challenged him, and he was like, as if like, oh, fuck off. Like, that wasn't like on, right? So, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, if AFCON's on, am I bothered about watching it? No, I'm more a case of if one of my players there, I'm like, don't get injured. I might pay attention to it towards the end. But then that would be the same for me with the Copa America. You know, AFCON would probably be harder to win than, say, the Copa America, right? And I realise there's certain teams now and again, you get like a Chile or a Colombia has a good run, but most times it will be Argentina or Brazil, right? In AFCON, we've had, you know, teams like, was it Zambia who had like the plane crash like a year earlier, and then they won AFCON the following year, a few years ago. So you've loads of different winners of that competition. It's not easy to win. I think what his point was rather more was like, you've got teams there who aren't on the world stage as unlike to win a World Cup. So like it was in reference to Salah. Realistically, Egypt are very unlikely to win the next World Cup, right? Like, that's fair enough. But it doesn't mean that it shouldn't still be counted, right? Not at all, right? And in Salah's case, what would you say? Well, he can never win a Ballon d'Or because he never plays in the Euros. I mean, that would be nonsense, isn't it? So I hope, and I don't watch enough of like La Liga and Serie A and stuff like that, but I'd be kind of amazed if there's anyone playing football better than Mohamed Salah at the moment. I hope that, yeah, Liverpool will probably win the league, but I hope it doesn't need him to win the Champions League for him to win Ballon d'Or. I hope it doesn't need. I think we just look at it and go, yeah, he's been the best player in the world. And that's what it should be. That's what it should be. The best player in the world should win the trophy, irrespective of what they've won. If it's close and you say, well, yeah, okay, these two are close, and yeah, he did win the Champions League and he went out in the last 16. All right, yeah, fair enough. But I hope it's not counted against Mo, because he's just had a season unlike anything the majority of us have seen. It's unbelievable. That wasn't quick, was it? But it was a good question. Zim Zabalim says, hi James, thanks for the great content. Just wanted to ask, how long have you and Suj been friends, and what's his full name? Sujan Singh. No, it's Sujan Shah. How long have we been friends? I fucking hate him. He's a prick, mate. Joking, boss. Keep paying me. Listen, he was my boss before we were friends, so I first worked for his company a year before we started doing the podcast. So I guess what we're in season 8 of the podcast. So coming up to 9 years, I guess. LFCBSFC, did you attend the Champions League final in 2019? It's like asking if the Pope's a Catholic, mate. Was there genuine optimism from Spurs fans before Sissoko did what he did? Bit harsh. I don't have a problem with a penalty, by the way. You know, he had his arm out. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it was more astonishment. You have to remember the drama of how we got there with the City and the Ajax games as well, right? We kind of already felt like we'd won. It all happened very quick and didn't feel. I didn't. It's difficult to place myself, but you obviously dream of winning. Didn't feel realistic. Remember, that's the Liverpool team that finished on 97 points in second, right? Fucking hell. One of the best teams we've ever played against. So no, I don't think there was. It was hope. I still maintain that had we nicked an equaliser, the game was turning into where we might have just done it. We might have just got one and got a second, but you can't deny Liverpool their deserved victory. No, probably not, mate. Probably no, there probably wasn't genuine optimism. I think if we went again, it would feel different. We'd be more. I had the Newcastle fans say this recently about like it had been so long that getting to the final in the League Cup last year felt like such a kind of big achievement. Was it last year or the year before? Year before, I think, wasn't it? Sorry. Whereas this time it will feel all about business, like winning the game. And if Tottenham got in that position again, it might feel a bit different. So, like, if we get to the Europa League final, it'll be about business. I realise that's not the Champions League final, but it'll just be about business, go and win the game. Frode says, my friend Raphael, a City fan, is going to your game tomorrow, but he has a seat in Spurs side. He didn't check. He has a Valerenga Norwegian team, dark blue and red shirt on. If you see him, say hi. Well, tell him to say hi to me if he sees me, mate. Adam says, did you manage to watch any of the Leeds Sheffield United game last night? Do you think they'll have a better chance than the currently promoted teams stay up next season? Adam, I'd just be blagging. I don't want to do that, mate. What I can tell you is I got a championship clash to correspondence for you next Monday. Dan Ashby and Jack Toner, Luton versus Burnley next Monday. And we'll be discussing a bit more of the championship with those two as well. We'll be more familiar with it than me, because I want to get an idea of what they think of Leeds and Sheffield United and other teams near the bottom. And obviously, Burnley got this incredible record of conceding 9 goals all seasons, but they're not in the top 2. It's fucking madness. And Luton have obviously slumped badly. So I'm really looking forward to that. Be out early next week for you. We're still doing Wolves Everton with Bradley and Sean, but that'll be out on the Thursday. Perfect Cell says, favourite Scran at the footy. It's a sausage roll, mate. Kofkin says, hi James, what does City need to do to turn things around? Cheers, mate. Excuse me. Complete and utter rebuild, mate. Right, I'm going to answer all the rest of these in like less than 5 words. Alex Young says, it's the Oscars on Sunday. What is the best film you've seen in the past 12 months? I don't even know if I've watched a film in the last 12 months. Was that 5 words? No. Josh Davis says, if you were put in charge of designing a new crisp, I'll tell you what it was. We watched Super Mario Brothers. Dun, 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 dun. Josh Davis says, if you were put in charge of designing a new crisp, what would be the texture, shape and flavour be? Be meaty. It's bigger. More like McCoy's, you know what I mean? Diljit says, favourite thing from Little Bakery. Them fucking yum-yums with like caramel in the middle, mate. Russell Baker, right, this is the last one. Palace going down in 93 on 49 points from 42 games. Won League 1 94, relegated 4th bottom 95, lost playoffs 96, playoff 97, 90th minute, relegated 98, admin 98, best decade of my life. Now, fair game. But football was different then. Football was, you could dream it. What I'm saying is now you're coming back and you're like, fucking. And listen, with Palace, I totally understand the problems that football club then went in on for the 10 years afterwards in terms of, administration, the win at Hillsborough and stuff like that, right? And it's good to see the club's doing really well now. So, I think we'll leave it there. Otherwise, just FPL Frost House and Starts. Right, well, that's good fucking news, isn't it? So he's fine. Okay, so that was a load of nonsense. That's why I tend not to cover rumours on these streams. Okay, I'll leave it there, guys. Clayton be back with me for the Clayton and James show tomorrow. Enjoy the game week, everyone. I hope your arrows are green. Smash a like, hit the sub button. Ciao for now, everyone.